There we go. Welcome to this week's edition of the Fresh Takes Podcast for some police. Different a little bit, little technical difficulties going on. We apologize for that, but we're here. Paul Russo, Nick Felice across from me as always. Nick, how's it going? This Thursday's a little bit weird to do, admittedly.
Yeah, second straight Thursday. Paul, I just got to say, would you start a franchise with Zion Williamson over Luka Doncic?
I'm going Luka.
I'm 100% going Luka. I don't know why anyone else would even think about starting with Zion over Luka. If those are the two guys you have to choose, Luka's my man. Zion is my sixth man. End of story. All right, that's my intro.
Yeah,
Good show we got.
We're going to have many stories to get to. Unfortunately, there's going to be no true side-by-side tonight. So Nick will be giving you the topics of discussion today. So, Nick, what we got? What are we talking about?
Yeah, well, you see that middle column.
Well, it doesn't look like a column, but...
They can tell. Is the blue thing, can they see the blue thing?
No.
They can't see the blue thing?
No.
Okay, then I see a blue thing, but... Well, you see today's March 5th, 2020. This is the Fresh Takes podcast with Russo and Felice.
Just say the topics.
We got the NHL. If you don't know what that means, that's National Hockey League. We got NCAA hoops. If you don't know what that means, neither do I. What does NCAA mean? Something basketball.
National Communist Against Athletes.
Okay. Talking men's hoops, not women's. And then we're talking boys hoops and girls. Girls. I get it confused. If you're talking college, it's men and women. If you're talking high school, it's boys and girls. Same genders, even though there's...
Okay. that's a different podcast for a different day.
And that's why I don't do this part of the show. We're talking basketball and little pucks. Paul, take away.
Okay, way to land the plane on that one. Let's get right into it. NHL skating towards the cup. See what I did there?
Yeah, that was funny.
So we're post trade deadline in the National Hockey League. Nick, I want to start here with you, and then we can work obviously way around. Wow, the Rangers kind of came out of nowhere here in the past month or so. Doesn't look. Well, I should probably rephrase that. They're gonna need some help, admittedly, but the way the wild card standings situate, they look like they're still fully in it. For a team that was thought to be in a bit of a rebuild situation, what's it like as a Rangers fan?
They have turned it on of late. They've lost a few. It's tough. It's tough in the NHL, especially if you go to overtime. As you know, Paul, obviously, you get a point. So, it's not about wins per se. It's about points.
And we have breaking NHL news. The Hurricanes lost just now.
I don't think that's too breaking. To who?
Well, it helps the Rangers.
Oh, okay. Oh, are you going to tell me? Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
It just helps the Rangers?
Okay.
Well,
yeah,
they got to keep winning. There's a solid, 6 weeks left?
Give or take.
They're still in a rebuild. They just signed Kreider. That was a nice sign. I'm glad they didn't trade him.
Only for him to get hurt.
And I like the young. I like Capo.
He's not even the best rookie on the team.
Nope. I think Zibanejad and Parnin have done a great job stepping up for the team. And
Bread boy.
You feel bad for Sabre fans because they got a star in Jack Eichel, and yet they still don't make runs like the Rangers have done. Why, Paul? Why?
You want my honest opinion, eh?
Yes.
Well, if only Buffalo could... I need to phrase this kind of right. At least from an outsider looking at it, obviously I'm not fully paying attention to what the Sabres exactly do. but it seems as though they have a knack of just like pissing off their players a lot for whatever reason. You'll get the Bogosian situation. And I think there was more underlying stuff. I think it's been said and published that there's been underlying stuff there. But this was a guy who was fairly happy last year, all things considered. Eichel's, there have been certain situations where Eichel's been upset. I mean, I don't know. I part of it, I think they need some stability. I mean, they keep flipping coaches usually every year, every season and a half, 2 seasons, which I don't think is good. Which in that turn also means you're flipping general managers in about the same time frame. So, yeah, to me, I'd say the main deal with the Sabres has been stability. I mean, they've lacked it. They've kind of kept the same core overall, which is good. Obviously, with Eichel, they have a really good young defensive unit, which is what I like. I mean, their goalie situation, you got help on the way, but not this season, obviously. I mean, this season's probably a wash. I mean, they aren't fully out of the deal yet, technically. But, again, I mean, their situation's much more dire than, the Rangers or the Panthers or the Hurricanes, obviously. So,
Do you think the Bruins are the favorite? I want to know.
yeah, I mean, I said at the beginning of the year, I mean, that their team's about as close to being a perfect team as you can have. They've been able to crank it up as of late, which helps. Every unit's clicking pretty good. They didn't do, I guess, any of the major moves that I think maybe people wanted them to do or expected them to do. But the same token, it's probably for the best. I mean, that unit as a team's really good. They were my pick at the beginning of the year. Still are my pick, even though I'm a Lightning fan, and the Lightning have come on pretty good as of late. But I think that Bruins team is just
They
too
just
good.
lost the Bruins not that long ago, right? Last week or something.
Yeah, they lost over the weekend 2-1. Or actually, no, I think it was Monday or Tuesday night. They lost 2-1 to Boston. But I mean, I think it happened in a 7-game series. So
Well, you know it firsthand. Last year with your Lightning, anything can happen in a 4-game series. So, do you believe in the Dallas Stars?
do I believe in the Dallas Stars? Yeah, yes and no. I really liked them out the West at the start of the year. I thought that team looked about as good as anybody on paper. And for the first 60% of the year, that wasn't the case. They have come on strong since January. Their differential's +8, which doesn't fully add up when you look at their record of 37, 21, and 8. So in playoff situations, that raises a lot of concerns. Offensively, they're offensively challenged. A lot of their guys have gotten dinged up throughout the year. Players haven't been fulfilling what has been expected of them. For example, this is one's prime because of fantasy. Radulov missed about 3 weeks-ish combined so far this year. He had a stint of about 2 that he was out, and he has kind of underachieved the whole year, at least goal-wise, in my opinion. Again, it's hard to put a certainty on a team out west. It's been a wild. We said in the last time we talked about it, it's the Wild West. It's Vegas has come on. They made, in my mind, a great acquisition in Lehner.
And the West has been wild for years now.
Yeah, well, yes and no. I mean, usually the West. I'll put it to you this way: in the West, there's always been at least one team that has been able to stick themselves out above the rest, whether it be Detroit, Chicago. Recently, you had Nashville for a couple of years, Vegas for a couple of years now. And really this year, it's hard to kind of get a gauge.
Do you like the Blues?
Yeah, the Blues are appearing to be good. Bennington's not really had too much of a sophomore slump. They've been offensively good, defensively good. That being said, I think if the Avalanche don't have the injuries that they just got saddled with the past month and a half, St. Louis is probably for sure looking at the 2 seed. And now, obviously, they're tied technically win-wise. But I think if Colorado's a fully healthy unit, they're above St. Louis. And then you look at the other division, the Pacific. Vegas is back on top. Edmonton and Calgary are right there still, which is like I said. I mean, this has been hard to gauge. And you have a team like Winnipeg who's come back strong now recently. Again, people kind of looked at that as being a wash year for them. And they're hanging on that last wild card at the moment over an Arizona team that you had maybe at the start a little bit of high hopes, especially getting Taylor Hall early on. They've kind of crept up out of the valley a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see.
One final question I got for you, Paul.
Sure.
Winners and losers of the trade deadline.
Yeah. So let's start. We'll keep it out west only because I discussed it. I think Vegas is a winner. They got, like I said, Lehner from Chicago. Definitely, they're able to now have a two-headed monster in goal with Marc-Andre Fleury and then Lehner, obviously. It gives you. It's a lot like the Islander situation with Greece and Varlamov. It allows you to feel confident no matter the night about who's in goal. Winner in the East, in my mind, it's gotta be the Islanders, man. They picked up JPG from Ottawa. Guy that I have in my fantasy team, Peugeot. I mean, easy big win right there for them, obviously. Losers, the Panthers were looking like they were going to be something, and they traded the Bro Truck. They traded Cho Truck up to the Hurricanes, and despite the haul they got, it just did not make any sense. In that regard. Losers out west, I won't say Colorado only because maybe hindsight's a bit 20/20, but they're in the middle of having the injury spat when the deadline came and went and they didn't do anything. So, admittedly, if you want me to give me an honorable mention on the winner side, I will say the Sabres. They got Wayne Simmons technically cheap. They're splitting the contract the rest of the way with the Devils. Wayne definitely needed, although he was only there for half a year, needed change of scenery. I think this is kind of a perfect opportunity to him kind of re-stabilize his career and kind of show he still might have something. So, the Sabres were able to kind of put themselves at least on the map maybe the rest of the year. Like, hey, we still got a guy. Let's see what happens.
Now, you mentioned your fantasy team, Paul. I will say one thing about my fantasy hockey team. Yes, I have a fantasy hockey team. I did have the Zamboni driver on my fantasy hockey team for that night.
No, you didn't.
I started him in the goal. Yes, I knew his name, scouted him. I had
What's
him.
What's his name?
Deadpool.
Yeah, Deadpool.
And his name is, say the name. I don't know his name.
Yeah, so I thought.
On the fantasy app hasn't listed as Zamboni driver.
He's not even technically a Zamboni driver.
CS Ball, and he was a hero.
Did you not hear like his interviews? Like he only drives Zamboni like maybe once or twice a month now. He's like the head of facilities.
You're missing the moral of the story. I had him on my fantasy team, and yeah, that was pretty cool. What do you think of that rule?
I'm not.
You like the emergency
in theory,
goal?
In theory, I'm not a fan of it.
To Barry Melrose.
Well, no, it's just like you're not gonna have you're not gonna have Nick Felice in basketball. It's like, hey, we need an emergency center. Come down here and guard Shaq. Like,
It's pretty gradable.
I'm not. I mean,
He let
it gives
the first
us
two
cool,
go,
It
and
gives
he's
us
like,
cool.
oh,
It gives us a cool story, but overall, I'm not a fan. It
Okay.
just
want to hear.
Let's get into stuff you really want to get into, Nick. Your lane, your groove. The ever-changing bubble. It's getting smaller as we inch closer with regular season stuff wrapping up.
Yes. My bubble popped yesterday.
Yeah, I think Syracuse's bubbles. It hasn't popped yet.
But yet Purdue's
It's there.
bubble continues to float
Yeah,
with 14 losses.
somehow.
Yes, this is the final week for the big conferences, regular season, your final games.
Purdue 9-10 in the conference.
Yeah, they're
Apparently
under,
a bubble team.
under 500 in the conference, 14 losses, the bubble team. Syracuse.
Indiana bubble team. Same
Syracuse
deal.
won like 6 road games. Over 500 in the ACC. They're done. Give them their spot in the NIT. It's terrible. It's terrible just because of North Carolina. I truly think that's the reason. I think because they think North Carolina is bad, the conference is bad. And it's stupid. But, this is the Big Ten. Let's just turn the NCAA tournament into the Big Ten versus the Big East and watch these mediocre teams lose to freaking Fresno State. And there's going to be a lot of upsets. You thought it was hard to predict a perfect bracket this year. It's going to be extremely hard this year as there's going to be a lot of upsets this year because there's going to be a lot of teams that are teams you don't usually see up there. Like Seton Hall. Really? Seton Hall. Creighton. They just lost the
You're
same
hating the Big East right now. I don't know why.
because it's proven that they don't win in the tournament.
What do you mean? Villanova won it 2 years ago.
Did you not let me finish?
And then 4 years before.
It's the same thing as the Big 12. Yeah, you had Texas Tech last year. Okay, that proved my point wrong a little bit. But when you think of the Big 12 and you think of the Big East, you only think of Kansas and Villanova.
No.
Yes. Name one Big East team that has been successful in the NCAA tournament other than Villanova.
Georgetown.
When was that? 2006? Come on.
Butler.
That was actually a while ago, too.
You also said Creighton. Creighton fairly recently has gone on runs to the Elite Eight.
Notre Dame made 2 straight Elite Eights. You got to make the Final Four.
So what you're telling me is then anybody can make it because it's this gummy bear thing.
Yeah, it's just
Notre Dame can make it.
history. I mean, we've seen Louisville. We've seen Syracuse. In the ACC, Syracuse make the Final Four. We've seen Duke. We've seen North Carolina. We've seen Virginia. That's 5 teams right there. Villanova. The Big East, nice little conference. It should be right there with the American. To be honest with you, in my opinion, it should be right there with the American. Atlantic 10. It's Villanova.
The A-10's better than the American this year.
Yeah, okay, it's better than the American, but it's the ACC, and then I hate the SEC too, but they're not getting any love this year. Right now, it's just really Auburn, who I am not high on. Auburn just got beat yesterday by Texas A&M or something like that. Buzz Williams, shout out.
Yes.
But Kentucky you could always rely on just because their athleticism. But I'm never taking Kentucky because I hate Kentucky and I hate Calipari. And, don't like these ACC teams, at the top of the line, Dukes, not gonna be North Carolina this year, but I'm gonna root for these guys. You know, I might root for Duke this year just to prove the ACC wrong, or prove the ACC is better than they were. Florida State might be their year finally. You know, Leonard Hamilton. I think last week I said he needs to make a Final Four to prove himself as a great coach. This might be the year. You know, there's just a lot of flaky teams up there. I think this is the year finally Kansas.
Yo, I just realized somehow Georgia Tech is 5th in the ACC.
Yeah, I did not know they were 5th, but because Notre Dame's lost a few, I haven't really looked at the standings lately. But Georgia Tech's not a bad little team. I knew going into this year,
You beat them twice.
Yeah,
by big amounts.
that's good. But those are good wins, I think. But they're looking at Georgia Tech as like a scrub, like
They
a
are a
Northwestern.
scrub. How the hell are they that high?
I mean, Georgia Tech. Yeah, you think of them in the past, but I
That
look.
freaking sleazeball from Memphis is their head coach.
Yeah, he's a good coach, man.
No, he's not.
I'm telling you, let's look. The Banks kid down low is a very young player. He's a good
Who?
player. Duvall is young. He's going to be very good. They've had Alvarado.
Who?
He's always been one of the better point guards in the ACC. I mean, they have some players. I thought Georgia Tech was really good coming into this year. And
Man, I'd love to smoke whatever you're smoking.
Georgia, listen, man, Georgia Tech, I know them. They're not a bad little team. Syracuse got good wins there, but they're not giving Syracuse any credit. I'm trying to help you here. Georgia Tech is a good win.
Dude, I don't want Syracuse to make it. The fact that they freaking get blown out by UNC and then go and win convincingly at BC is literally the worst thing ever.
The fact that Minnesota was just a quad one win is embarrassing. Shitty Minnesota. It's terrible. This whole thing about saying the ACC is overrated is pissing me off.
It's because it is this year.
They're down. I'm not saying that at all. They are definitely down, but they are not dead. They are still. This is the most competitive the ACC has ever been. This will probably be the most interesting ACC tournament that we've ever had. We have North Carolina, the very still talented team, the last team in the field. Like literally any.
I want to be here to tell you to take Dayton. I'm telling you, Dayton's.
I like
real.
Dayton. I do like Dayton.
Obi's the man.
I was all those flaky teams, top of the pyramid.
Here's the deal.
Dayton's one of them.
I'm gonna plead with you people. Go to since we're in New York. At least we're in New York. Go to your local sport book. Drop some money on Dayton. Do it now. Back to Nick.
And
that was my TED Talk. Thanks for listening.
This is Paul came in 5th to last place in the tournament challenge, telling you how to spend your money.
Yeah,
I came in 6th to last place,
Yeah,
and I'm not going to tell you anything because I know better. But
the last in ours and freaking second in the other ones I was in.
But
Gotta switch it up.
I'm living like this the rest of the NCAA year. I am not taking the Big Ten. I am not taking the Big East. No way in hell. The only one I could take, if I wanted to take, is Michigan State because I look at their track history. Izzo always gets this team ready. This team is still very talented.
So ready that he only has one championship.
That is the last Big Ten championship back in 2000. I don't think Michigan. Usually, I would believe in Michigan. I'm not believing in this Michigan team this year. I like Simpson. I like Brooks. I don't like Michigan though. Don't know why. I think it's Dwight Howard probably, but
I don't like anybody from the Big Ten.
a lot of people are high on Maryland. I say stay away. I would not.
Stay away from them all.
I think Maryland could definitely be that 13 over the 4 upset like they have been in past. I think Maryland, every time they're high like that, they tend to lose. Another one is like Arizona. You know, I don't know what to think of the Pac-12. Because Pac-12
I think Arizona, aren't they in jeopardy of missing? Yeah, I mean, Arizona's on the bubble.
Yeah, they are. But I'm just saying, in past, Arizona.
How the hell is UCLA first in the Pac-12? What is going on out there?
UCLA has been red hot. Mick Cronin's got that team turned around. I still don't think they're good because Notre Dame beat them. But it's weird because the Pac-12 has had no respect for at least like 4 years now, and all of a sudden now they're getting some respect.
No
They're getting
respect. I was the one giving them respect.
yeah. Don't know why.
Not this year.
Really, it's weird that you don't now because now they're saying they're getting 6 or 7 teams.
Well, let me start with this. This is a little bit of
Help
a
me, Bill.
sour orange fan with the whole entire deal with Isaiah friggin' Stewart in Washington. Yeah, but how's it going in the basement of the Pac-12? Friggin', you didn't want to play for Bam because he wouldn't take a picture of you when he was trying to watch his kid's game.
You think that's the real reason?
Yeah, he says it is. I think it is, and it's a terrible reason.
I don't know what happened to that Washington team.
You want to know what happened? They played over their heads. They let expectations ride. And then they got the conference play. This is the key thing with them. Because it's not like they were terrible. They were actually still ranked by the time they got the conference play. You want to know what they are in conference play? 3-13. Their record overall, 13-16.
Yeah, they've absolutely collapsed.
They got the conference play. They had the expectation for a young squad, and they crumbled. Happens every time, no matter what level.
Mm-hmm. In that conference, though, I really don't like any team making a run. If one I had to choose.
Well, I forgot to mention my Big Ten one that I think you can pick and get away with.
What is it?
I don't think they'll win the tournament, but Illinois is, I think, a very smart stream option to get to at least the second weekend.
I would agree with you, but I'm a little bitter with Illinois right now. I picked them on my parlay and I lost.
Well, that's because you pick freaking like dumb teams on there.
I lost because of your dumb team, Illinois. I just said it.
Well, I mean, they could, yeah, but you could have picked the team that they were playing, and Illinois beat them.
It was Ohio State.
With you.
Ohio State's great at home. They're not playing at home in the NCAA tournament. Ohio State is not going anywhere. One I actually kind of am high on in the Big Ten, other than Michigan State. I like Wisconsin. They play defense, and they surprisingly have gotten their offense turned around. I can't name anybody on Wisconsin, but I've seen them play, and they play as a team, and they seem to win some Big Ten games. Big Ten games. The big ones. And I always like Iowa. I'm a big Iowa guy. I always look at Iowa as the Notre Dame of the Big Ten. Bunch of white guys just shooting the ball. A bunch of farmers. Notre Dame's kind of like that, but I like Garza. I don't know. Bohannon got hurt for Iowa, and there's another guy I like on the team, McCaffrey. I like the coach, McCaffrey. I don't know if they're related, but I like Iowa, I like Michigan State, and I like Wisconsin, and that is it out of the Big Ten, even though they're going to get like 10 teams, which is crazy. Paul, any teams you like?
I'm glad you asked.
Other than
Nick.
Dayton?
Well, let's skip myself on over here. And by the way, we'll start here while I get over. I'm not buying into San Diego State anymore. Done.
After today's game or before?
Before. I don't know. That defense is starting to look really flat. Not good. They're getting complacent.
Okay.
That, and I think they'll probably be the only team out in the Mountain West. Unless, obviously, somebody really gets upset. Somebody upsets them to win the conference title. I mean, I guess you can make a case for maybe Utah State, but I don't know. I think only one team in the Mountain West.
All
right. I'm glad you brought up Kentucky earlier, Nick. Happy that you did, because I don't buy them at all this year. It's a very streaky Kentucky team. The team from the SEC I will buy into in a funny way. Again, same deal as Illinois. Doubt they'll make the Final Four, but I think they're a good streamer to get yourself in the second weekend. LSU. Will Wade's got that team going. Probably because this is probably his last hurrah with LSU, if you're catching my drift, if you know. about Willard Wade and LSU's NCAA, we'll call it investigations. But he's got a solid team there. I mean, nobody really, I'd say, jumps out to you or in a singular fashion, but the team plays really good overall ball together. I think their resume will get helped a little bit if they make a good SEC tournament run. Maybe they don't have to win. Maybe they don't even have to get to Sunday because, right, the SEC plays, I think, their championship game on a Sunday for whatever reason. But if they get to, like, their Saturday, I mean, I think that certainly helps them out even more. Because I'd say at the moment they're probably hovering about a 7-ish seed personally, but that's right, I'm your new seed bracketologist.
You should be a bracketologist.
You want to know what's going to be really interesting is the WCC, the West Coast Conference, because it's been an interesting week. We have St. Mary's dipped to 4 in the standings, and Pacific's coming on really strong. Part of me thinks there'll only be 3 teams there still, but if both Pacific and St. Mary's keep the course that they're on, we might be seeing 4 on the WCC. So, interesting.
That's crazy
stuff
talk.
there. Nick, do you know who's leading the WAC?
No idea.
New Mexico State.
Like always.
The Aggies. What a letdown Buffalo's been this year, by the way. I was really looking forward to that team. They kind of let me down.
I hate Buffalo.
Oh.
The fact that Syracuse got a quality win because they beat Buffalo.
Yeah, you all know what you brought up the A10. It's been interesting. Bonaventure and Duquesne flip-flop spots over the course of the past week. But yeah, I'm high on Dayton. Really
As
high
you
on
should
them.
be.
Do you know Tulsa's leading the American now?
I did.
So
I did know that because Lenardi has
Tulsa,
bracketology.
they're looking
at
like
him
4 teams, I think, out of the American.
It'll be close. Well, I don't think Tulsa's going to make it if they don't win the tournament.
Their overall's 21-9, though. I mean,
Yeah, I know. I
big Joe Lenardi. What has he done?
I respect Joe Lenardi. The guy from,
Of course
the guy from
you
CBS.
do.
The guy from CBS.
He has a shamrock shoved up his ass.
The guy from CBS is an inside source, I'm telling you. And Joe Lenardi is actually putting the math down. I think Lenardi's a little too generous. I think everyone's a little too generous towards these mid-majors. Heck, it was nice that they got a freaking automatic bid. Now they're getting at-larges. It's crazy. But speaking of at-larges, sorry to get a little off topic. Hobart got an at-large bid, and they will play Jim Calhoun's team.
What's their team? Isn't it like St.
tomorrow.
Joseph or something like that?
St. Joseph's of Connecticut. Yep, and be interesting. Interesting to see Hobart. They actually mentioned Hobart on ESPN today. Jeremy Schaap with the shout out. Anyway, back to the NCAA tournament of Division
I mean,
I.
technically, I was going to say technically it's not off topic. I mean, it is NCAA.
I've
Some
been
local love.
a little off
Was Hobart the only team locally to get a bid that you know of Division III wise?
that I know of. Yeah, I see Ithaca's in there, but I think they might have won the conference tournament. I know they beat Hobart. I'm not sure who ended up winning it, but I should know that. But yeah, I don't even know what I was saying. Oh, I've lost a little off. I'm a little off on my college basketball talk a little bit because I've stopped paying attention just a tad because Notre Dame has lost. I'm just waiting for the ACC tournament to start next week. And by the way, it's still the most popular tournament to watch. It's just I'm just getting sick and tired of hearing about how Richmond needs to do what to make the tournament. Are you kidding me, Richmond? And how Seton Hall can move up to a 2 seed. I know I brought up Seton Hall twice tonight. How they can move up to a 2 seed. Come on. Seton Hall, that was them, Providence, South Florida. They were the laughing stock of the Big East back in the day. DePaul was next. And I hear Rutgers wants a spot. Oh, my goodness. I can't. I'm going to fill out my bracket, and if I see Rutgers on my piece of paper, there's no chance in hell I am writing down Rutgers.
We're off the top you off the hill here.
But it's madness in my head. It's madness before the madness. I look forward to it. I was in Vegas last year for it. It was pretty dope. Not gonna lie, betting the games before betting became a thing here in New York. But it's definitely. I still say it to the end of my life. That Thursday and Friday are my two favorite days of sports of the entire year. There's no doubt about it. When I was in college, I would skip all my classes. Don't do this, kids, but I would skip all my classes.
Don't do this. You did this in high school, not just college.
Yeah, but drank more in college. I would just skip all my classes.
What type of statement's that?
I'd start drinking at noon. It'd be a great day.
You started at noon.
It was weird because I bring in 4 TVs the weekend before.
Jeez.
I'd have 4 TVs going. Oh, it was a great time. Bunch of kids from college who I've never even met just showed up to my room, started watching the game. You're like, yeah, I got the San Diego State Richmond game on. Come on in. It's still my favorite time. Yeah, Spectrum screwed me over. Can't watch all 4 games at once. Got to buy 4 boxes. Are you kidding me? I don't got that kind of money. I don't even pay for the cable. I still live with my parents. But well, anyway, Spectrum took away my 4 TV thing. I used to love that. I went 4 years running, 4 straight TVs.
What the hell?
I gotta go to a bar.
What? You act like this is a terrible thing.
Yeah, I gotta pay for my own beer.
Oh my! You pay for your own beer anyway.
I want to go bar at noon. I feel like a loser on a Thursday.
All right, we're getting you out of here. Let's talk local basketball madness, though. It is championship weekend. Sectional time is here. Nick, we're excited for this. We've now seen our fair share and called our fair share of games. So we're going to do this. We'll talk each game a little bit here. That includes Wayne Finger Lakes. And if FL1 will be there or not, obviously.
Tell me what the radio schedule's like. I want to know.
Well, it's going to be a combined deal here. So let's start with the first game that will have Wayne Finger Lakes flavor. Friday night, Blue Cross Arena at 7 p.m. The number 2 Perry Yellow Jackets face off against Wayne County's number 1 Lions. The Lions team, as usual, good. I mean, kind of, if you look at it from the macro standpoint, status quo year, right? But this is a team that's had some adversity, some injuries along the way. Should be, I think it will be a bit of a good game. Still think Lions comes out victorious. Nick, any thoughts on that
Well,
game?
I was at the last Lions game, and they survived. When you think about March Madness, you think about surviving and advancing, and that's what Lions did. They didn't score the last 2 minutes of that game. I think they were only up like 6. The fact that they hung on by 2 was...
Who'd they play again?
Geneseo, 5 seed, number 24 for Geneseo. I think his last name is Wright. Had a great game, 30-something points. He kept getting to the line. If Coach Schott and his Lions want to win this game, they're going to have to...
You got a bit catty on that one.
He's a good guy. But if they want to win this game, they're going to have to play smarter defensively. Hopefully the refs go their way. Sometimes, the refs can dictate a game. But another thing about that game, Benji Camp, he was
Bad company.
He was in foul trouble most of that game. But Horace Betts stepped up like he usually does. And he's had a great year. He's only a sophomore.
Tootie Smith back full go right now.
What's that?
Tootie Smith full go right now.
Tootie Smith.
Justin Smith.
Oh, Justin Smith, no, he's still not playing, no. Yeah, and I don't. We at the Finger Lakes Times, we still don't know why he hasn't played. But maybe Jim can tell me. I don't know. I don't know why he's not playing. But I like their chances. It's at 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Blue Cross. Yeah.
Tentative tip-off.
I am not covering that game. I'm covering the one after, but you will get to it.
It's a late one. But yeah. You want to know who is covering the game, Nick?
Yes.
Finger Lakes.
I told you that. I want to know the schedule.
Of course. Jim Senacropi, Kevin Sharp, live on Finger Lakes 1 Sport Radio. They'll go on air about 6:45. All goes to plan there. Then the game after that you mentioned, Nick. Kevin Sharp and Jim Senacropi also on that one.
How are they at both games?
Following the both. Why? Because we have Finger Lakes West versus Independent. Number 2 seed, the Marcus Whitman Wildcats, coming off the Independent schedule. Face off against, we'll call it a traditional rival. Number 1 seeded from the Finger Lakes West, the Red Jacket Indians. This is, do I want to go? I'll go there. I'll put myself on the limb. This might be on the boys' side. The game, at least from the Wayne Finger Lakes side, game of the weekend on the boys' side of things.
I think without a doubt it's the game of the weekend.
Although I don't. Oh God, I forgot about Saturday morning though. This is tough.
Yeah, it's.
This is admittedly a tough
They're
one.
both good. Imagine if it was Clyde Lions as well.
Oh,
You'd have a heart attack.
Sheesh. You want to circle back? Let's discuss the game, and then we'll circle back to it after the next game.
Yeah, I mean they're all great games.
Both teams have had. This is a battle of core kids from each program coming up through the youth systems. Now they're at Blue Cross as seniors for both teams. Man, this is going to be, I think, a down-out Donnybrook type of game, I think.
I haven't been able to watch Red Jacket play, but I've heard a lot about him. I will be at that game. I've seen Marcus Whitman play a couple times. Liam Pendergast, great player. Over under 28 and a half.
Whoa.
Points, rebounds, assists for
I don't know
Liam.
if we're allowed to do that.
I think it's going to be a great game. Both Whitman games that I've done have been great games. Whitman won both of them. They beat Lions, and they beat Minders. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to knowing Red Jacket. Hopefully, hopefully one of them will advance. I like to, if I really like Red Jacket, maybe I want to see him move on. But I like Whitman. I like Whitman's coach, Greg O'Connor. Yep. He's a great guy. We'll see. We'll see. It's the granddaddy of them all. At the Blue Cross.
I don't know about that. I might be leaning towards the Saturday morning game.
It's
now.
just 9 p.m. Friday night, 9 a.m. Saturday morning. I don't know.
But yeah, that means we get to have breakfast at the Blue Cross.
What did you just say?
Breakfast at the Blue Cross.
Oh, I thought you said Lou Cross.
Blue Cross. Yeah, probably different going to be. Either way, Battle of Finger Lakes East teams. Number 3 seed Waterloo Indians. First sectional final appearance since 2002?
Really?
Something like that. Might be getting the year wrong. Against Geneva. They've been here in the past couple of years. But Waterloo, obviously historic. Call it a historic sectional drought in terms of getting a title.
They barely survived.
70s.
Barely.
But you brought
by.
up survive in advance, man. That's kind of what this Waterloo. Well, probably not the best term with this Waterloo team. I think they've done a bit more than survive in advance. But in terms of most of the year, when they come in the close games, they've been able to find a way to get the victory. That being said, though, Geneva's last matchup, which was in Waterloo, Geneva came back to win that game.
Absolute class.
Obviously, the big X factor being Junior Martin. But, I mean, man, you want to know what? I'm going to roll with this game. Actually, I don't know still. But, technically it's a battle of first-year coach, at least where they're at, first-year coaches as well. Coach Desering, Coach Darnell. So this is a lot of this matchup has a lot of different angles to look at.
Yes, I've done both these teams. I've done the last game between the two teams, Geneva and Waterloo. An absolute collapse by Waterloo, but it was an unbelievable first three quarters for that Waterloo team to get out to a double-digit lead over a very good Geneva team. I think Waterloo's going to have to shoot the ball. If they, I don't know, inside game, Paul, who do you like better, Geneva or Waterloo?
Oh,
I think
gosh.
it varies from game to game.
Yeah, I was about to say it's kind of a toss-up, I guess, depending upon.
Waterloo's going to have to shoot the ball.
I think it also comes down to a little bit of like foul situations too, because both teams have kind of dealt with that in varying degrees all year.
And it's very interesting.
I'll put it to you this way. Felber for Waterloo does a great job in a style that I personally like because I'm an old school post player, and he reminds me a lot of an old school post player. Defense, rebounding, challenging down low on that block, right? And then you flip it and look at Geneva with a kid like Parker Bossard who can spread the floor a little bit. He allows you to because he can, he can shoot the jumper, very well. I guess it depends, like what you see defensively too. I think down low it's a toss up. In all honesty,
I think the key to the game is the first quarter. This is a 9 a.m. game.
Yep.
Whoever gets off to the best start can really control the game.
Not to interrupt, but Zbedejab had 5 goals tonight for the Rangers.
Really?
Yeah.
They win?
They did.
Oh, my cousin's husband, Justin Kiefer, it's his birthday today.
And happy birthday, Justin.
Yes, and he's a Caps fan. That kind of sucks.
No, it doesn't.
They lost on his birthday. But anyway, I think that it's going to come down. It's a 9 a.m. game. Really? They couldn't put the D's at 9 a.m.?
Have some respect.
The Class B, I don't know. Maybe they're pumped for 9 a.m. If I had a 9 a.m. game, this is the sectional finals. I know it's probably the only time they can do it. But, it just really comes out who's going to be awake. What time these kids got to get up? They got to get up.
I'll put it to you this way. Finger Lakes 1, the crew will probably be heading up for sure, I'd say by 6:30 at the very latest. So, by bus even too. You gotta be up. You gotta be up, probably pushing that 5 a.m. marker is my bet.
These kids Friday nights are shot, but it is a sectional final.
As somebody who never played in a sectional final game in any sport, I think I can give up a Friday night to to go chase a block.
Yeah, it's. You gotta think Waterloo wants it more because they left.
Well, in terms of the history side of it, yeah.
Yeah, but that last game, man, they got a bad taste in their mouth still from that game. I don't know. It's gonna be a great game. It's gonna be a great game. I think it really matters if Geneva comes out like they played against Palmac. It's not gonna be good. Not gonna be good. But if they come out the way they played against Hornell, they should be fine. It's going to be a great game, Paul. I don't know which one's better, but the Blue Cross got some good games. How about that, though? There's like 7 games that day on that Saturday, and they're starting off with Geneva Waterloo.
Yeah, I know.
It's pretty cool.
And then I forget which A matchup. I can't remember.
Victor got beat, though.
Oh. All right.
Never got to see a 7-footer play, but I've seen highlights.
The girls' side, the Finger Lakes 1 crew packs up and heads west for a 1 p.m. tip-off.
We got to go to California.
Close. Gates Chili Heights School for the girls' B1 matchup in this case. The number 2 seed Dansville Mustangs take on
They're the Mustangs, huh?
the number 4 seed Palmac Red Raiders.
Oh, they're
Finger
not playing
Lakes
East.
East. No.
Mustang versus Mustangs.
That woman's, but no. Jim Saracropi, Tanny Robinson go live at 12:50, 1 p.m. tip-off there. This was a Palmac team that I had the pleasure of calling on Monday night. The days were starting to kind of run together there. went to overtime against Waterloo. They take the season. They swept the season series in that. It's going to be interesting. Andrew Savage did a phenomenal job defensively and then offensively down the stretch for the Red Raiders. So I'm really looking forward to see what she can do against this Dansville team, rather. Dansville, I got to see most of that game. They are a very, we'll go with the word organized. They're a very organized offensive team. They got a couple shooters, but more importantly, they have a girl down there. She's like 6'3", 6'4", and they try their best to funnel it into her. She was getting like double and triple teamed in the game before, and Dansville like switched. The second option was, hey, let's just start shooting threes, and they were hitting them. It was Livonia that they ended up beating, and I mean, Livonia just couldn't keep up early in the end. It was a tight game in that game, but that game should be interesting. I'm gonna say Palmac, I think, in that game. It's gonna be. It's gonna be a battle down low, I think, in that game.
I have not seen Palmac play, but I will be at Gates Charlotte all day long, watching the 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, Red Jacket Law. So I will not be doing the 5 o'clock, but I'll be back for the 7 o'clock. So I'm gonna see Palmac for the first time. I've heard a lot about their close wins against Waterloo. That's very impressive. I think this team sounds like they're good, and we'll see. I'm excited to see them play.
The second game for Finger Lakes East girls, well, really any Wayne Finger Lakes girls, Penn Yan Mustangs, number 1 seed, going up against number 2 Avon Braves. That is 3 o'clock against Chalet. Coverage for that game, you can find it on WFLR Radio. Lucas Day having the call. Excuse me for them. Nick, we got to see in varying different capacities, me calling the game for Finger Lakes 1. You were there covering the game for the Times against Minders.
And my uncle was roughing the game.
It was admittedly a bit of a back and forth game for, I'd say, 28-ish, 26 minutes. Then Penn Yan just kind of stretched out a little bit, especially at the free throw line. They're good defensively. I think it's going to come down to offense. I don't know if they can fully keep up with that Avon team.
I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
When Minders took the lead in the fourth quarter in that game, did the sound system go off?
Yes.
Yes. I thought
did.
so. I put that
there
in.
Was so the timeout before they had been playing for the people with watching and listening to this podcast, during the timeouts and in between quarters and everything, they had a guy there who was doing the PA stuff, who was also running the game music for in between all that, and I believe it was TNT played during that timeout. And it wasn't right after. It was, I think, like 2 possessions after the timeout happened. And Binder said
Higbee.
Was it, I think, I can't remember who stole it, but I know Higbee got the lay-in for it.
That was their last lead of the game, too.
And I remember the mute. So the ball goes up, backboard, rim, and it was teetering on the rim, and all of a sudden the music just went off for like a split second.
Yes, I was watching.
Yeah.
My uncle was reffing the game, and I was watching the game with my aunt. And I never even told her. I wrote that down in my story that Minders, their last lead of the game, happened when the music accidentally played. And she read it the next day, and she's like, I don't remember the music playing. I was like, then I'm starting to think,
it couldn't have been.
Was I thinking?
No, it couldn't have been more than 2 seconds, but it did go off.
It was when the ball was in midair.
Yeah.
It went off.
It could have been more for 2 seconds because I remember it going off as soon as the ball went through the nylon.
She made the basket. But
yeah.
It was the last lead for Miners, and Jody Decker started taking over. My aunt actually pointed out first, she's like, this girl wants it more. And she
Jody Decker
kept getting to the line.
that ball was going through her effectively on offense, and defensively she stepped up huge. So
Yeah, and
I think
expect her to step up.
I think Peñans will need a little bit more of a team, full-fledged effort against Avon. That Avon team, they kind of flipped the script. They played Wellsville. They had the lead over Wellsville. Wellsville came back, took the lead for a few brief moments, and then Avon pulled back away down the stretch. That Avon team, I think Avon's going to be. It's going to be a tough game for the Mustangs if they play like they did against Minders. That's for sure. And then last game on Saturday, C2 Girls Championship, number 2 Keshequa Indians playing the number 1 Lions, Lady Lions. 7 p.m. tip-off. We'll go live on Finger Lakes 1 at about 6:55. Some guys named Paul Russo and Nick Felice will have the call for that.
That is game number what, 6?
Collectively, game 6 on the weekend. Yes. So.
And we're not calling Wayne, boys.
Yeah, Keshequa was able to keep Red Creek at bay the whole game, keep them at a little bit beyond more than the arm's length, somewhere in about that 12 to 15 point range. It seemed like with that. Lady Lions had themselves a ball game with Clyde, though. Classic Route 31 rivalry game there. Battle of seniors with Caden Crego, Taylor Sharp for Clyde. Lions obviously come out on top.
Clyde's got a bright future, though.
Yeah. This Lions team, think about this. And you're a writer, Nick. So think about this headline that you could put. Lions sweeps C2. Boys and girls both coming out with the sectional trophy at the end of the weekend. I definitely think it's possible. What do you think?
That would be a nice headline for the front of the sports page. If something happens, I've been told that Penyan girls and Geneva and Waterloo boys is our headlines, is our go-to front runners right now. But bottom line, if Lions, wins buzzer beaters or something, they might make the jump up. All the games will be in the paper. Don't you worry. But that's Lions sweep. Yeah, that's interesting. The only thing that comes to my mind when you think about girls and guys sweeping like that is UConn and men's women. When they swept both national championships. These are both really good teams. These are both teams that can make a run, pass sectionals. First of all, they got to win these big sectional finals first, and then focus on what happens after. Lions, they're gonna probably have to play in a playing game to play Red Jacket or Whitman, I think, unless Whitman wins. Not sure how it really works, but whoever gets the bye out of the 3 C's. But we'll see. We'll see, Paul. That is a good headline. Lions sweeps. Do we expect a sweep?
I mean,
they're playing against non-Wayne Finger Lakes East, so I say
think,
yeah.
I think it's extremely possible. I really do.
Yes, I do too.
I'm all aboard with it. Hammer that at the casino. All right, so obviously keep tuned in to Finger Lakes 1 for all the coverage there. Obviously, Friday night through Saturday night, 6 games on deck, starting 7 p.m. Friday night, ending 7 p.m. on Saturday night. Tune in. A lot of great coverage. Looking forward to it. If you told me at the beginning of the year that we'd be calling a championship game, I might have laughed a little bit, but it's been a good year for us, Nick, and I'm looking forward to at least one more.
Same too, buddy.
So that wraps up the Fresh Takes Podcast for Russo and Felice. We actually did make it damn near the full hour, Nick. Probably go over technically. Anyone you're shouting out today?
Yeah, I told you I was watching the games with my aunt and uncle. I'm going to shout out my Aunt Nancy and my Uncle Tom, the Marinos, live down the street from me. Shout out. She gave me some snacks during the game. She's a nice aunt.
Lucky.
Crackers, even a Reese's cup. Maybe it was a Reese's egg. It was a little Reese's something. But shout out Aunt Nancy. Shout out Uncle Tom. Not sure if my uncle's got a game this weekend. I think he was supposed to ref at Byron Bergen girls won, but they lost. So that's a sour note to end the show, but that's the end of me.
All right, and then as usual, don't know when we'll be back next week. If depending upon everything that happens. But either way, we'll see you next time. Make sure you download the app. Stay with us for all the
Set your
content.
clocks
Set
ahead.
the clock. That's right. Spring forward this weekend. We'll catch you guys here next week or next time on the Fresh Takes Podcast for Police.